Hello, everyone, and welcome to the week 2 announcements. So, in this announcements, I actually can give some feedback because you've had a couple quizzes and a writing assignment. And that's a large point of these announcements is for me to give you feedback to tell you either, hey, what you're doing is really working, or hey, here's some problems I see that multiple people have. And this is something that we need to adjust so you can do the very best you can. So one thing I did was I checked grades at like Sunday afternoon, I think about 3 or 4 p.m., graded some writing papers, graded some quizzes, or checked some quizzes that people had turned in. And then I finished the grading today, Monday morning. And one thing I can say is that people who did things early tended to do a bit better, right? My guess is that it's because they weren't waiting till the end. There was a chance that maybe you waited until Sunday to try and watch all those videos and do the writing assignment and do the quiz, and you wouldn't have had time to review to really let that information sink in, and so you may not have done as well. And if that fits you, that you waited, maybe something came up or for whatever reasons, that's maybe something you want to try and avoid for this next quiz, right? Just because it's due at 11:59 p.m. Sunday doesn't mean you want to wait till 11 to start the quiz or to start watching the videos. That being said, I wanted first talk about the writing assignment. So the writing assignment was basically just filling out the study guide. And the way I graded that was I did a spot check. I just kind of skimmed the answers, and then I made comments both in the text and also, if you go back in your assignment, there's also a box where I made comments where I kind of explained my grades. And so I made comments if I saw something that seemed incorrect, if I saw there was missing information or something like that. Most people did pretty well on this assignment, though I do want to emphasize one thing where people sometimes struggle a bit. There's a difference between giving correct information and giving complete information. So sometimes there would be something that would occur, and I would give multiple reasons for why this historical event occurred. So why did the Ming Dynasty go into decline? Or why did China stop Zheng He's expeditions? And I gave multiple reasons. And sometimes someone will only give one reason, even though I gave multiple ones. Well, that's correct. That one reason was a correct reason, but it wasn't the only reason. So that's one thing, that if you gave those kind of incomplete answers, that's something that would maybe hurt you when it came time to take the quiz, because you wouldn't be able to correctly identify which was the false answer because you didn't know all the correct ones. There were a couple places also in study guides where people used terms that I didn't use. So for example, they referred to the Mughal Empire as a gunpowder empire, and that is technically correct. I don't talk about the whole concept of gunpowder empires though. So that would mean someone was trying to probably use Wikipedia or something like that. And that's generally not a good idea, not because Wikipedia is bad. A lot of time the information it gives is correct. That point about the gunpowder empires is correct. However, it's not some information I'm looking for. And so what you do is you're spending time learning things you don't really need to know for the course. And while in a sense that's good, it's not efficient for maximizing your grade. So it's better to kind of rewatch that video to make sure you get that correct information rather than turning to another source. Some people also in their study guides just copied from the PowerPoint, where they just kind of wrote out what the PowerPoint said. And I mean, that's correct information, but of course there's more to it than that. And I can't tell that you actually understand the material. So if you just copied from the PowerPoint and didn't include the other information and you weren't happy with your grade, that's probably why. Now, one thing I want to stress is that there was a tendency also for answers to get a bit weaker as time went on. So sometimes people, their first few answers were really good, but the last answers were not so good. And that's probably because they were getting tired. That's why it's important that you don't want to do all the work in one day. You want to do a little bit each day and fill out that review guide each day as you do the work. Don't wait till the very end. You'll get too tired. Another thing to emphasize, and here I'm kind of transitioning to the quizzes. The quizzes were generally good. I was very happy with the quiz grades. And I saw a very strong connection between how people did on the study guides and how people did on the quizzes. So if you got like a 24 or 25 on the study guide, there's a good chance that you got an A on the quiz. On the other hand, if you got like a 21 or 22 or 23 on a study guide, there's a good chance you didn't get an A. You maybe did much lower than an A. So there is that connection. Right? If you watch the videos carefully, if you fill out that study guide, then you're much more likely to do better on the quiz. One thing also to emphasize, and I want to repeat this, I mentioned this, I can check when people take quizzes, and you don't want to wait until the last minute. So I had a student take the quiz at 2 a.m. Not on Sunday, because you wouldn't be able to take it 2 a.m. Sunday evening, because that would technically be Monday and the quiz would have closed. I think it was like a Friday. And you don't want to do that. You're going to be really tired, and that student had a little difficulty. So make sure that you are taking the quiz when you're awake, when you're alert. Some people ran out of time, and usually those were lower grades. Like they got to like 30 minutes and then the quiz stopped. You may say, oh, this isn't enough time. But I want to point out, students who got 90s, which is a full score, and the quiz was out of 90 points. There were multiple students who got full score. One of them did it in under 12 minutes. So the key thing is that if you were just like, oh, I don't know this information, I don't have enough time, well, that's because you didn't learn the information and you're just trying to fill it out from a study guide, which might not be complete, right? But if you have learned the information by carefully filling out the study guide, and then you review the study guide, right? You want to study, you want to learn the material, then you'll be able to just bang it out in no time, right? So that's why the student who got a 90 was able to, full, 100% grade, was able to do it under 12 minutes, right? They had filled out a great study guide, and they were easily able to then fill in the answers. So remember, it is open note, but you still need to review, you need to understand. One thing to tell you also, if you're using like Microsoft Word, you can use the edit find command, in the Microsoft Word, if you go in the home menu, there is a find command, and most word processors have a find command, and you can use that to quickly look through your study guide for answers. So for example, if there was a question on the quiz that says, something about the Ottoman Empire, you could do a find command for the Ottoman Empire, right? Or I would say just look up Ottoman, and it would show up in your study guide most likely very quickly. And that will help you. And that's why I like it when people have dual monitors or two screens. You could always try and take your quiz on one screen and then have your review sheet open in another screen and use that edit find command. That will help you to quickly find answers. One thing, though, I do want to emphasize that you need to be mindful that you're completing this quiz on your own. Working with someone else would be considered cheating. I'm very concerned with cheating. Don't want people to cheat. I can check when quizzes were taken and what questions were missed. And if I have two people taking a quiz at the exact same time or about the same time, and they take about the full time and they miss like the same questions, that's because they're probably trying to work together, and that is cheating. And if I see that, I will take action. So please keep that in mind. Do not do that. Now, the next writing assignment is not a study guide. The next writing assignment, which I'll talk about momentarily, is not a study guide, but keep doing the study guides, right? That's something that's easy for people to stop doing. I require the first week one because I want people to see how useful it is. But after that, it's your decision, but I highly recommend that you keep doing them. One thing also, keep them because then the midterm, remember, will be cumulative. The final will be cumulative. You have a good set of study guides with the questions intact. Don't delete the questions. Sometimes people delete the questions. It's not very useful to have a study guide without the questions. You've got that. It's very easy for you to study for the midterm and the final. Now, I have a little bit more to say, but at this point, I will give you the password. The password for this week is canon, right? The password for this week is canon. We're going to be talking about canons in this upcoming week, so the password is canon. So remember to send that to me by Tuesday, 11:59 p.m. A few things about this coming week. So we will finish the Islam section, and we'll talk about the rise of Europe. As I said previously, there's a shift in the kind of writing assignment we're going to have. So the writing assignment is not going to be based upon a study guide, right? You should still fill out the study guide, but this writing assignment is several primary sources, two of which come from the French Revolution, one of which comes from the Haitian Revolution. I think they're interesting. They give us a better understanding of these times. The Haitian Revolution one, I think, is a little bit difficult to understand, but we have to remember that I think the Haitian Revolution is very important. There's only been one successful slave revolt in all of human history that we know of, and that was in Haiti with the Haitian Revolution. And so I think it's important for people to know that and have a look at this document. It's a little bit difficult, but I do think it will reward you if you read it carefully. Do remember, too, that there is more material this week because it matches the in-person classes. In-person classes are meeting 3 days this week. They're not meeting 1 day because of July 4th. So last week we had 2 days of class equivalent. This week we have 3 days of class equivalent. So it is a bit more work. So just keep that in mind as you're rationing your time out. All that being said, have a happy 4th of July. Make sure to send me the password by Tuesday, 11:59 p.m.